What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Second Passport. Today I'm checking in from the spa town of Papallacta. It's about 45 minutes from the Quito area. And I was looking for my own property with a connection to the hot springs. It's one of the only towns I've heard of in the whole world where most of the town, if they solicited it by a certain date, has direct piped access to the thermal heated water. And if you ever dreamed of entering the water business, right? Maybe bottling water or maybe having your own thermal baths that you could either rent up to other people or use yourself whenever you like. Well, that's what I'm looking for today. My own hot springs in this town of Papallacta. Why hot springs? Was, according to many websites like thehealthline.com, thermal water, and specifically like selenium-rich water, for example, has been used for decades as a therapy for different skin diseases and stuff. And it helps to hydrate skin and reverse UV damage and reduce inflammation, as well as balance the microbiome. Different things like that. So obviously, it definitely has certain benefits. Right now, as you go up towards town, it's high. You go really, really high, and then you come down just a little bit as you head down towards the Amazon, just a little bit, and you hit this spa town here of Papallacta, right? And there's one of the thermal baths, my personal favorite, called Hamanco. Really hot, different pools, and when you're in the area, definitely try the fresh trout, which is very commonly grown here in the area. And here's a look at the little town itself right before you get up to the thermal baths. And what's super interesting about this town is, I think it's unique. I've never heard of anything like it, but what they've done is there's these thermal baths right on the north part of town, and the whole little town here that you're looking at has access to the thermal baths. They're piped right into each house, but you cannot. Here's what I learned, right? Looking for my own personal thermal baths slash property. Not all the houses here in town have access to the thermal baths. Only all the residents above this red line here in town, above this one road, I discovered from contacts there in the area, have access to the thermal baths if and only if they already have piped access to them. And I saw it's just like an extra valve that you open and you can get that. Well, I discovered the residents of this little town have free water, completely free access to all the cold water they could want, fresh and drink, totally able to drink, but only the residents that were around before a certain point in the recent past that applied for the access point to the thermal water, to the heated thermal waters, has access to them. And if you didn't apply before a certain point, it's too late now. So when you're looking to buy a property like I was in this area, you should only buy if they already have a direct metered access to the thermal baths. That's right. The property will have an actual meter put in with the thermal waters flowing through it. And what I've heard is that you pay 30 cents per cubic meter of water. So most residents told me they end up paying a couple dollars a month for all the thermal heated water that they could ask for, right? If it's just a private residence. Now, obviously, if you did a small hotel with each room with their own thermal baths piped in, obviously you might have to pay a little bit more for that. But again, you have access to all the water, drinking water, fresh drinking water you could want for free when it's cold, and you have another access point to the heated thermal waters whenever you want to just turn it on. And you can use it, maybe start a little business, but you have to be above this red line here in town and up. If you're below that, you don't have access, basically, and you have to have that access point already installed with the meter already installed, because new access points are no longer given. Now, the first deal we're going to look at is here. It's right in the center of the little town here, right before you get to the main hot springs, and it's definitely a fixer-upper. Could it possibly be a flip? Possibly. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house that's finished but rough on the bottom level. On the top level here, you're starting to look at it right now. It's like a balcony area, but it definitely needs finishing, right? So it's kind of an unfinished house, and it currently does not have direct access to the hot springs. And as I covered in the last video, you cannot just request it. Only the people who already have it can maintain the direct piped access to the local hot springs. And also the cold water bill is completely drinkable and free. Now, there's another property right up the road from this that I also found. It's kind of just it's a bigger lot. It's like 820 square meters with a wooden house on it that probably needs to go, asking $55,000, and he said they do have direct access to the hot spring. Like I said, it's a house like you could fix it up. This is what I would do. You could like fix it up, and then possibly you could install your own hot tub, and then you can pipe in the thermal water so people can use it whenever they want, and you could do it like a short-term Airbnb rental when you're not around. That's personally what I would do with a property like the house we just looked at, asking $24,000. Anyway, there's not many like it. I'm Mr. Second Password. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe and the like button below. And the seller contact for this property is in the description of the video below for more information or to visit the property itself. Take care.